What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. In today's video, we're going to wrap up the Ultra League rotation with an awesome expert run from Mr. McLean, featuring Bombardier in the Ultra League. So yippee-ki-yay, let's get right into these battles here with Registeel and Cresselia on the team as well. So it looks like a very strong, bulky team. Bombardier has some spice, but honestly, dark types in the Ultra League usually do pretty well because of all the ghost typings, and also having the flying wing attack and fly also really helps it pressure things like Poliwrath. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. Now, Trainer immediately eats a Shadow Blast Burn. It's good to know that is an XL Registeel from the looks at the IVs, 3, 9, 15. I'm jealous. I don't have an XL one. I literally just have a Raid IV Registeel. So my Registeel probably would have gotten destroyed. Bombardier's got some interesting bulk to it though, I guess, right? I think it's an XL, I'm not sure. But Bombardier, being a dark type, has the same typing as Mandibuzz, dark flying, right? So, but it's much more offensive in the fact that its moves Fly and Payback are much more heavy hitting than Aerial Ace and Foul Play and or Dark Pulse would be. Now, Charizard's going to come back in. It's going to find out how hard the Fly hits, and Fly is one of the best energy efficient moves in the game, I believe. It's a very good charge move, hits very hard for the energy that it requires to use. And the opponent going for a move here, Mr. McLean's looking to shield up the Bombardier and go for a fly before letting the Bombardier go down. Bombardier is a Pokemon that came out just this season. It's from Paldea, and this particular Pokemon, I believe, has really only been in raids. So in order to get a good one, you have to do some raiding for it. Look at a catch. Oh, that was a nice catch, dude. Is that the Blast Burn catch? It has to be, right? Yep, we caught the Blast Burn. That's pretty fantastic. And because Cresselia has Future Sight and Moonblast, it doesn't need to worry about being walled by fire types. So we're going to see if the opponent wants to try and catch a move over farming, not to try to catch the move. But the opponent makes a very nicely timed swap, and in comes a Virizion, and this Virizion is about to have a bad time. This, you could probably, oh, it's hard to say. I think you have to just go to 2 charge moves here and hope that the opponent's Blast Burn doesn't KO. Getting to the charge move here before the opponent is going to be able to get to a Blast Burn is going to be important. So going for an undercharge and a farm down. This is a really heads-up play here by Mr. McLean. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have the Blast Burn loaded when they come back in with that Charizard. Fully farming down the Virizion here is going to be huge. That undercharge was massive. Able to immediately fire off the Future Sight. Opponent does not have the Blast Burn, and this is going to one-shot the rest of this Charizard. Boom! I'll give the button because it's supposed to hit hard. Good game. And remember, this is an expert run, so this is not, you know, this is about 2,700 elo range here. So Registeel in a defense form, Deoxys have played the other side of this matchup many times. It's much better for Registeel if the opponent's not packing Thunderbolt. This opponent is, however, using Thunderbolt, so this is definitely a much better matchup for the Deoxys, as it does have neutral damage to add to the super effective counters that are coming at the Registeel. Getting a debuff here is nice. Might be worth swapping at some point here, but the opponent goes for another Thunderbolt here, and the Registeel decides to no shield. The opponent probably has Dark types in the back. I'm something of a Deoxys team connoisseur myself here. So I would usually anticipate that a Deoxys probably has some, you know, mixture of normals or darks in the back. And so the opponent instead completely averting my expectations, and they have a Dragonite in the back. Now, Cresselia is poised to do very well here. The Zap Cannon most likely gets the shield from the Dragonite, and the opponent is going to get a farm down. Registeel getting let go because Bombardier can't really come into this comfortably, so the Dragonite's going to throw a charge move. Excuse me. Eventually, this is going to go away, I hope. And the opponent comes in with Drapion. Now, Bombardier comes in because the opponent's either running Aqua Tail or Sludge Bomb as the move that's not Crunch. And we're going to see the opponent's running Aqua Tail. This isn't so bad because the pacing to fly, not bad at all. Opponent does get to those Aqua Tails every 4 poison stings, though. So this might be a game where we see either a sweep by Cresselia with multiple shields, or we just have to get rid of the Drapion, honestly. And if the opponent still, I mean, oh my goodness, the wing attacks are chunking, too. Could probably live this move, but Mr. McLean is looking to go for a fly here, shielding up and looking to get some more farm, go for the fly before the opponent gets to the Aqua Tail, and this should be more than enough to take out. Opponent gonna not shield that, they don't need to. Can we get to the fly before the farm down? No, unfortunately not, but Cresselia just needs to get to 2 Moonblasts here. This is all gonna come down to whether or not the opponent is gonna be able to get to multiple moves here to take out Dragon Claw #1 coming through. I probably would have shielded that one just in case the Moonblast debuff came through. It's only a 10% chance, but you never know, honestly. The opponent's going to go for more moves. This is very, very close, but having an extra shield here is... I mean, you only get to 2 moves at this point, I believe. You get to this move, the Moonblast is more than enough to KO, and we got a button. I got to hit it. You know how it goes.
Boom!
Yeah! Yippee-ki-yay! I want to finish that phrase, but I can't. And anybody who knows it will know why. So we got a Poliwrath in the lead, immediate dip to Cresselia, and the opponent has a Drapion in the back. So I would immediately be expecting this to be the double Dark Poison team, right? With the Poliwrath, and then they have Drapion and Scuntank in the back. Now, this is why I prefer Shadow Drapion, because it can actually pretty much 2-shot a Cresselia, whereas the non-Shadow is not going to be able to. That Moonblast debuff coming in clutch, though, is going to allow Cresselia some more room in this matchup. As the crunch, they still need at least 2 more crunches to KO here. It's not even 2 at this point. That attack drop makes it so they still need to fire off another crunch, and this Cresselia may very well have some HP left by the time that happens. These Poison Stings don't hurt that much. See if the opponent goes for the crunch here. They do. How much damage? Okay, Cresselia's still alive and gets to the Moonblast. Oh, that Moonblast debuff coming in clutch. It flips games when it happens. The opponent gives up switch, which is absolutely crucial, because if there is a Scuntank in the back, it's going to be sitting up against the Registeel, and now the opponent's Poliwrath is going to be stuck against Bombardier, and Bombardier does outpace to the flies, letting the first move go. Icy Wind doing some decent damage here. Going for that fly, the opponent going for that overfarm. As Mr. McLean's overfarming to try and ensure that the opponent is not able to swap and catch that fly, because that energy is going to be very crucial. The opponent now going for Scald, gets the debuff, and I'm not even gonna... I will start ranting about Scald debuffs any minute now. It's miserable. Look at the debuffs on this thing. Everybody gets a debuff. Oprah's out here giving them out. You got a debuff. You get a debuff. You get a debuff. Everybody gets a debuff. Scalds everywhere. Look, another debuff. Oh my god, dude. That's what this season has devolved into, and I hate it. And I really hope that it gets adjusted next season. I don't know if it will. It probably won't. But all these coin flips and attack drops and it's just a miserable game state. I don't like playing a game that's always dictated by RNG. Which is funny because Go Battle League is blind threes and it's still dictated by RNG regardless, but that's at least not an RNG that, you know, directly affects you just right in front of you. Anyway, the opponent come back in with their they come back in with the Poliwrath. Mr. McLean's got 2 flies locked and loaded, ready to go. The opponent not able to counter down in time. This fly should be enough damage to KO the Poliwrath because Bombardier,
Boom!
honestly hits like a truck. Getting into the next battle here. There it is. We got Registeel on the lead versus Tapu Fini, a really good lead. And Cresselia is not too bad either. But definitely prefer to have Registeel here with that super effective Zap Cannon. Now, the opponent may try to swap out and catch Zap Cannon here. I definitely want to throw the Surf because they want to get that damage in before the debuff. And Tapu Fini actually does fairly well in this matchup if a debuff is not applied right away. Cresselia does have a good matchup despite having the Future Sight Moonblast set. It doesn't need Grass Knot to be Tapu Fini. It's just much more comfortable that way. But the opponent gets a debuff right off the bat from the Zap Cannon, and letting that Surf go, kind of hoping that the opponent doesn't have a better answer in the back to... Wow, 2 shields. The opponent really doesn't like the Cresselia. We can't swap out of this here because Bombardier does not appreciate Tapu Fini. Having that fairy typing, even though the damage it's doing is all neutral, having that dark subtyping is really going to be not so great when it comes to dealing with, you know, opposing fairy types. So, because, you know, you can just hit up the Moonblast in just one shot. So, opponent throws energy immediately here, looking to hopefully not get the opponent, not let Mr. McLean, goodness, my tongue is going in circles, dude. Hoping to not let Mr. McLean here get to the Focus Blast. The payback is going to come out very quickly, but not quick enough here. So the opponent did have, I think, just enough energy to be able to get to a move right off the bat here. So payback would do a ton of damage. We're going to find out how much here. I'm actually really curious to see how much this does to Registeel. So payback is the nuke move here of choice. Payback does, oh, that's a lot, dude. And then Tapu Fini is going to come in. We're going to see the Bombardier farm up some energy here. And I would assume that the Cresselia probably comes in pretty quickly here. Oh, yep, after one more move, able to catch the potential Moonblast on the Cresselia here, and the opponent just opts to go for the Surf. Perhaps maybe they just knew it was coming, or they just wanted to get some damage off. But a full farm down to this Tapu Fini, looking dangerous, and even the opponent's Registeel is low enough where any of these charge moves can connect and KO. So it's going to be up to the opponent what they have in the back, and they have a Cresselia. And all of a sudden now, this looks like it's just going to be a timeout game. The opponent playing a very bulky, consistent team of Tapu Fini, Cresselia, Registeel, and that is why they could not swap out of the Registeel lead. It's because they had Cresselia in the back. So now the opponent is going to come in with their own Registeel here, and honestly, it's fine because Bombardier has nearly a payback loaded, and Cresselia easily eats this energy. Now going to come in with the Bombardier, looking for that full farm down. That is going to be, oh my god, yes! Getting the full payback off on this Cresselia. That's going to do plenty of...
Boom!
That's a lot of damage, dude! For a Cresselia, that's a lot of damage, okay? Moonblast, going to take out, but the opponent had already conceded, I guess, so good game. Alright, getting into the next battle here, we got Registeel on the lead versus Obstagoon. This is kinda okay. If the opponent has Obstruct, they can win this matchup. If they don't have Obstruct, maybe they just have Cross Chop. Okay, they have Obstruct. So after 2 Obstructs from my own experience, Obstagoon lives a Focus Blast after 2 Obstructs. So the opponent likely to put up both shields here, but them having the attack drop is not as helpful as you might think. Opponent going for another move here, probably another Obstruct, because, oh, they're going for Night Slash. Okay, so the opponent won't be able to live. They won't be able to live this Focus Blast without that second Obstruct, and if they do, it'll be by a hair. So Focus Blast number 2 is going to get the second shield. Registeel sitting here, taking shields, hasn't given up a single one yet. We're going to see if the opponent is going to get the first shield from this Registeel. Still letting it go, Night Slash, don't care. Hoping to get to the Focus Blast, and somehow is able to get to it before the counter down comes through. That's going to do a ton of damage, dude.
Boom!
Okay, now, yes, Obstagoon does win that matchup with 2 Obstructs, but the difference here being is that they need to be able to counter down the Registeel. And I don't know how long it's been since I played that matchup, but I have a feeling that the attack drop probably had something to do with it. Typically, ooh, nice catch by the opponent here, catching the Muk, catching the payback on the Muk. Typically, whenever I've played the Registeel 2 shield matchup, usually it goes a little bit better than that. But it's been a while since I played that matchup, so I might have it a little bit backwards. But Fly is going to do a ton of damage. All this Bombardier is going to have to do is farm down. It doesn't even need to shield because the opponent's probably not running Sludge Wave. No, they got Dark Pulse, so just go for that resisted chip damage. And then Bombardier's got a Fly loaded. Maybe throwing the Fly here out of fear that the Cresselia might have thrown a move right away. So just wanting to get that damage off. And then they can come in with their own Cresselia and up a shield and over half of Cresselia's HP in difference. Yeah, this is over, unfortunately. But gonna look to finish off the game with Bombardier. Forget the Cresselia, we don't need it. What happened, huh? I saw them hit the payback, what happened? Why did it throw the payback? Alright, that's weird. Anyway, it tried to throw the payback, but then the opponent sees Crest, and they're like, alright, that was weird, dude. I'm sure every one of you can let me know in the comments what kind of weird stuff has been happening to you this season, because I've seen that same thing happen to me a bunch, too. I also love it when I'm swiping for my charge moves, and then my iPhone is like, oh, let's get the screen to go with it. It does that, like, it acts like I grabbed a little white bar on the bottom or something. I don't know, dude. It's a mess. Okay, opponent comes in with the Giratina altered, looking to get that Shadow Claw damage. We saw the Shadow Claw fast move, so this is a very safe matchup for Bombardier to come into. Now, the opponent's rocking Dragon Breath. I reckon that Cresselia is probably the prime choice of thing to come in with, because it won't be taking super effective fast move damage, which is why the Shadow Claw version of Giratina does much better against Cresselia. Now, opponent's gonna not like this Bombardier. Any dark type in the Giratina typically has a very positive matchup. Payback, gonna do enough damage to take out that Giratina altered, and has enough energy left over in the tank to do some damage back to the Tapu Fini if it decides to come back in, which it does. These flies are gonna hurt, over farming by quite a bit. Could even potentially get to 2 flies here if the opponent decides not to throw or try to farm down. Shoe Fly, don't bother me. Going for number 2 here. The opponent not able to get to the move or decides not to throw it. Now they're going to have to shield in order to keep the Tapu Fini alive. which they do. They shield once, go for the farm down, and Trevenant's going to come in and try and get its own farm down here. This is dangerous because Trevenant really has a good time against the rest of this team. So opponent going to go for multiple Shadow Balls here with ease. Registeel sitting in the back, as it's probably much, much better for Cresselia to come in here because at least its charge moves are not resisted, right? The Moonblast and the Future Sight are both neutral damage. And honestly, at this point, you could even get close to a farm down against this thing. I think Registeel just finishes his game up here, absolutely. Shadow Ball going to do a ton of damage. Cresselia could stay and get this Moonblast off before the opponent's able to get to a move. And then it's going to be up to the opponent if they decide to spend their last shield on this Trevenant, which they do. Coming in with the Registeel. All you got to do is lock and load that Zap Cannon. Opponent not going to be able to get the 2 moves here. You're going to force them out of this matchup and back into the Tapu Fini. And that Surf is not going to do anywhere near enough damage. The Zap Cannon's about to connect. This Tapu Fini is about to have a very bad day. Tapu Fini not even wanting to try and take it. Saves its skin and surrenders. Good game. Getting into the next battle, we got Galarian Weezing on the lead, which is a very good matchup for Registeel overall, but especially if the opponent is running running Overheat, then that would be something else. Registeel does have to be somewhat wary of the Overheat, but saving shielding up the Shadow Ball. I was going to say saving a shield, but that's not quite what's happening here. The opponent got the shield, and now the Annihilate has got a shield back up. Cresselia is looking to go for Moonblast in this matchup. Future Sight would cleanly do enough damage here. No shielding and Ice Punch bait, which is really huge, honestly. Opponent probably lets us go. I'm actually not 100% sure how much damage that Moonblast does, but it does put the opponent in farm down range and gets the attack drop. Man, there's more attack drops on these Moonblasts than I've had in my whole PvP career, dude. Let's go. You love it when those things work out. And now, thankfully, because of that huge overfarm, the Cresselia is going to be able to get to a Future Sight here and just knock off this Weezing, getting it so low to the point where it really almost gets taken out of the game. Bombardier could easily farm this thing down. It's not comfortable, but could definitely farm down. Going for the double Brutal Swing here before Cresselia is able to reach its move. Good move count, or move counting by the opponent here. And Registeel is going to come in, and Tentacruel is in the back, looking real juicy for this Registeel to Zap Cannon and fry it and turn it into, what was it, Calamari, I think? What is it? Anyway, getting the attack drop first on the Tentacruel. Man, I'd be done with this, dude. I would be done with this. I know I've lost at this point. Registeel is just going to absolutely trounce, and I don't even know what's in the back. That's okay. Scald debuff, number 57 of the season right here. I hate Scald so much. It's like my most hated move in PvP now. It's really, really sad. Zap Cannon used to be up there because of that 67%, man. Which is really like 100% still, let's be honest. Unless you're the one using Registeel, then it's effectively like 5. Opponent trying to go for a catch here. Bombardier gets to farm down. Opponent maybe gets to a Brutal Swing. I don't even think it matters. You just let it go even if it's play rough. Doesn't matter here. Brutal Swing. Resisted damage. In comes Tentacruel to take the fly from the Bombardier. At least Bombardier gets some screen time in this battle. Being able to show off the opponent the incredible spice and taking out the Tentacruel. There it is. Good game. Getting into the next game, we got a Charizard lead here once again, but this time it's not a Shadow. Easily able to take a Blast Burn here if the trainer wants to. Opponent CMP tying on 8 here. Very nice counting here, as they know that it's 16 lock-ons to get to that Zap Cannon. They CMP tie. They get to force a shield. Now, if it were me, the opponent's Charizard would be baiting every time, but unfortunately, I don't get that lucky anymore. So staying in this matchup, very awkward for most of the things in the back because nothing really wants to eat a Blast Burn. Bombardier definitely doesn't. But shielding up another Blast Burn here, and the opponent decides to come in with a Swampert. Now, this is an interesting thing to do here. Now, if you get the debuff, I think Bombardier is chilling. We come in with the Crest instead. Opponent might be sad to know that this is Cresselia, but it doesn't have Grass Knot, but I think they're low enough now that really any move is going to be enough to KO. Even the Moonblast is probably going to be enough. But going for the Future Sight to go for the full knockout. Unfortunately, the opponent CMP ties right as soon as we get to the move, so it means that maybe an undercharge here might be the way to go. Go for a great undercharge, try to farm down. Nope, going for the full Future Sight damage here. And the Charizard probably comes back in so it can pick up the KO with that Blast Burn. But Future Sight would do a lot of damage. Now, it's up to the opponent now whether they're going to throw that Blast Burn or that Dragon Claw. They go for the full scent Blast Burn, which is going to be enough to KO. And now it's all up to Bombardier. Registeel's sitting in the back, not feeling so hot. Very, very low on HP. Opponent is going to have to go for a Blast Burn to knock out here. If this is a Dragon Claw, it will not be enough. Opponent going for the full scent Blast Burn. Bombardier, are you up to the task? Let's see if you can pull it off, buddy. Going for the fly here, hopefully. Not the opponent. Going for a charge move. Is this going to be a Blast Burn? Yep, it's another Blast Burn. This is like the 5th Blast Burn. Man, this is just unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I didn't even know it was in the back, and we may not even get to find out. Opponent's Charizard is going on an absolute tear, and that is an awkward thing for this team. Now, I think that, I don't know if it would be worthwhile to use the Cresselia as a pivot against the Charizard after that interaction. But okay. Getting to the next battle, we got Dragonite in the lead. I'm sitting here trying to think, and I missed the transition and everything. I'm just trying to think of adjusting against that Charizard lead because it's just such an awkward lead for the rest of the team. But I almost wonder if, like, once you get that Zap Cannon off, go straight into the Cresselia, especially if you get the attack drop. I feel like that might be a worthwhile adjustment there on playing, because then at least, well, you saw what happened. Anyway, Superpower is going to do a lot of damage to this Registeel Cresselia. Of course, Cresselia. I look at Cresselia and I'm trying to say Registeel, and for some reason, Cresselia is what comes out of my mouth. Opponent's Dragonite dropping both shields, and now in comes Virizion, and Cresselia counter swaps in. This is actually a good situation, because if Cresselia can overfarm here against this Virizion, which we've seen it can do, and it looks like it's the Sacred Sword and Stone Edge variant. So would want to be throwing on 4 moves instead of throwing immediately here to at least remove the ability for the opponent to get a whole free double kick in, as I know that it's not much in this matchup, but it can matter in some cases. So going that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is a full farm down absolutely right here. Opponent probably just going, even if they go for Stone Edge, this is fine. The Moonblast is still locked and loaded for that Dragonite to be able to just smack it when it comes in. But the opponent has a Registeel, and now things are suddenly very, very ugly. But 2 shields hopefully is going to be enough. Cresselia locking up a lot of energy here. I think that we may need to save the Cresselia for that Dragonite at some point. Bombardier is looking pretty good here. Perhaps just trying to do as much damage as humanly possible and save 2 shields for Bombardier. We do still have the Registeel to take off a potential debuff against the with the Zap Cannon. So gonna go for the payback here. At least we're expecting a swap. Okay, hold on a minute now. So that's what we're gonna do. That's different. Okay, Zap Cannon going to 2 shield. Oh, we're looking at just 2 shield flex on somebody right now. Yes, we are. Okay. Now, payback coming through. How low is this Registeel going to be? Low enough for a fly to KO at this point. Going straight forward as well. That looked like it was CMP, no? Maybe. Looked like it could have been CMP tie. Fly's going to take out. And now, is the fly going to come through before the opponent gets to the Dragon Claws? Mr. McLean going to get their 2 shield flexing on Dragonite Registeel teams. That's it. Let's go. And that's good. I'm going to get the button too.
Boom!
Very well played. And now, the most awkward lead of all of them, Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Shadow Alolan Sandslash may lose this matchup in the 1 shield, but in the 2s, it actually does extremely well because it has a pacing advantage, Drill Run doing super effective damage, and Shadow Claw doing neutral. It all just adds up very quickly. Going for the Zap Cannon first, hoping to get the opponent's shield, and they could have thrown that full Focus Blast and would have one-shot, and all of the problems of this team are suddenly gone. Oh no, dude. Now going for another Zap Cannon just in case the opponent tries to catch the Focus Blast on a Ghost type in the back. Jellicent's very common as well as Tapu Fini. But hopefully this is now low enough where something can take care of the Alolan Sandslash. Not really sure what, but Cresselia is going to come in to try to absorb the energy and fast move damage of this Alolan Sandslash. And Bombardier is hopefully going to be able to handle whatever's in the back, because this is a very awkward matchup. Now, you could definitely go for Moonblast here, 100%. At that HP range, a Grass Knot's probably enough to KO. So it's okay here to go for the Moonblast, but I do definitely respect wanting to secure this with the Future Sight because no one wants to leave that up to chance. But especially knowing the opponent has a shield, it's a very risky maneuver here. Going for the Moonblast, you could probably farm down at this point. The opponent looking to just go for move after move here. Cresselia doesn't need to worry about a thing. Almost gets that full farm down. Has to shield, unfortunately. Goodness, that sucks. I hate when that happens. And then the opponent comes in with Tentacruel, and suddenly everything's okay, because even though Cresselia is down at low HP, I'm almost certain that it's going to be able to get to 2 moves here. But instead, Mr. McLean does not want to take that chance and pops in with Bombardier and is going to be able to get to a fly on CMP with the Tentacruel. That's going to take out the Tentacruel, and in the back, it's a Poliwrath. Poliwrath, how you doing, buddy? You're about to have a real bad time. Even with a shield advantage, doesn't matter. Get to that fly. That fly, how much damage does it do? I need to know if it KOs.
Boom!
I was hoping it was going to KO. I had my hand on the button, but dude, excellent. Dude, that was some absolutely masterclass Bombardier play. That was a great time. Getting that, was that a 4? 3, 4? I can't tell. We have to wait. 1,100 Ultra Balls. I'm jealous. I have like 3. I have like 150? I don't know, man. I don't have a lot. 4-1, picking up expert rank. Congratulations, Mr. McLean, and best of luck to you on your way up to Legend as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to shoutcast the Legend run before the end of the season here as well. Bombardier, dude, it makes me want to build one because it looks like so much fun and it actually isn't bad. It has wing attack. It's got a really good fast charge move and fly, and payback as a nuke. That's some good stuff, man. I'm jealous, and I wish I had a Bombardier worth building. But that's going to do it for me for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.